Hey there, triathlete. Welcome to the Triathlete Mindset Podcast, where we explore effective training mindsets, life's challenges, and provide you with real-life strategies to help you become a stronger triathlete. Here is your host, Coach Morgan, the People's Coach.
Oh, we're back. Hey, Triathlete Mindset. We're talking to real people all the time. We got somebody inspirational today. I want to make sure I said that correctly. I just got through running like 10 miles, so I'm a little bit out of it. Because my blood sugar probably is going to fall here soon. But Brock is with us, right? And he wrote this book. My coworkers think I'm a pro. And I know many of us have lived that, even if you do a sprint triathlon and people are like, oh man, you do Ironman? I said, no, I did a sprint, right? Or it just looks different for people that are not in this world. And he reached out to me. I posted something on Facebook really asking for somebody to share their story, how they found themselves through triathlon. And he flipped it on me. It was like, no, I think triathlon found me. And then we had a conversation about it. I was like, oh yeah, you coming on here. Brock, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good.
That's good, man. Montreal, right? You're in Montreal and the weather
it's cold.
It's 80? No.
Oh no, yeah, 80 below maybe. Yeah. No, it's cold.
That's what's up, man. Tell us about yourself, brother.
Well, I guess I'll start with where everybody starts from this sport. I'm a triathlete.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird. I was thinking about that when we had our conversation a couple of days ago. When you talk to a triathlete, they could be 1,000 different things. They could have been a brain surgeon for 22 years. Mm-hmm. You do one sprint triathlon and first thing comes out of their mouth, I'm a triathlete. Oh yeah, and I fix brains and stuff. I don't fix brains, but I'm a teacher. I'm a phys ed teacher.
You fix brains. You fix
well,
brains.
Yeah, I guess I mold them. Now I'm a phys ed teacher, high school. I also wrote a book, as you know. My coworkers think I'm a pro. I'm a dad. I'm a boyfriend. A whole bunch of things. I'm also a blogger. I have a blog that I write every couple of weeks. I update. It's called the Hack Triathlon blog.
Hack Triathlon blog. Go check it out, guys.
And yeah, so I coach. I do all kinds of stuff. I didn't grow up doing triathlon, but that's what I do now.
Well, like you said, many of us didn't even. You told me your story about how you got into triathlon, and I kind of gave you a little bit of story about me, but what I'm noticing is, and this is Ironman marketing, which it probably is, it totally works because I was watching CBS, the ones that used to air the World Championship.
Yeah, maybe NBC.
NBC, one of those two, and I think I was, it was in the 90s, and I saw it, and it was a lady, it was an older lady, like 90 years old. It was a guy that had just had a heart transplant, right? And then there was a guy, a W amputee, below the knee. And I saw them doing a race, and I remember sitting there, and I remember being by myself and like crying.
Yeah. Because
it was just so like it was. And then even if you go back and listen to like that motivational video that still exists on the Ironman page, anything is possible. It's like so moving. And then so we kind of go out there and reach for triathlon. And we were talking about like how, people they're trying to find themselves through triathlon, but you were telling me like triathlon found you. So tell me that story.
Sure. Well, first of all, like I told you on the phone the other day, in my book, I have a little story that I talk about right at the beginning of the book to sort of get people into it. And it's a true story. Just sort of give you a little analogy about how triathlon found me. One time I was about 5, 6, 7, really young. And I was in a shopping mall with my mom. I don't know why I was alone with my mom, but I was. And anyway, we were shopping, and the store we went in, lucky for me, went through the toy department first. Okay. So I was looking at these Nerf footballs. You know those Nerf footballs? Those things were fantastic, man.
Nerf everything was fantastic.
Oh, yeah. So I knelt down, and I was studying those balls. And I thought my mom was right next to me. I looked up to ask her a question about the balls, and she was gone. And I think she thought I was with her. We both thought we were together, but we weren't. And so I got a bit lost. I looked around a bit, and I couldn't find her anywhere. And this lady saw me alone and lost and young, and she grabbed me by the arm, and she started to drag me, trying to take me out of the store. And I was panicking. And I thought, well, my mom doesn't even know where I am. So I wasn't really looking for her. I was trying to get away from this lady. And then eventually, after about 10 minutes, which felt like hours, I saw my mom way down at the end of an alley, and she kind of looked her head over and saw me, and she had this shocked look on her face, like, "Oh, I thought you were with me." So she came sprinting down. She had some harsh words for the lady, and anyway, she freed me from the lady. But the long and the short of it was, like, I wasn't looking for my mom, and she wasn't looking for me, but we kind of found each other.
Yeah.
And it's the same type of thing that happened with triathlon for me. I didn't do a Google search or anything like that. So you saw triathlon, that sounds fun, or I'm looking for a sport that has a lot of disciplines that I could do all in one day. I didn't have that. I was on my way to the Boston Marathon to do the marathon one year, and it's a long drive. It's like 5 hours from Montreal to Boston. And I decided that year to get a little book on CD. And the book I chose to listen to was A Walk in the Woods by Bill Bryson, which is super. I've since read it, and it's really good. And I thought it would be fantastic. It's a nice long story. He has a nice soothing voice. He's from the area. Anyway, I popped the CD into the machine, and lo and behold, it was Lance Armstrong's voice talking about his book, It's Not About the Bike. And I thought, geez, I was really angry at first because that's not what I wanted to listen to. And I had heard stories about Lance Armstrong. I thought, I don't really want to listen to that either. But I listened to it, and I loved it. I didn't love it because it was Lance Armstrong or anything. I loved it because he was talking about cycling, all the little ins and outs of racing a bike. So I decided that day I have to race my bike. But I was about 40 at the time. I'm now 52. And I thought, are there races for guys my age to ride a bike? I didn't know, and I assumed there wasn't. But I knew, I had heard of, and just like you, I used to watch the Ironman on TV. It was the only triathlon event that ever came on TV when I was a kid. And I remember that, and I think, well, there's a bike in the middle, and I know I've heard of people my age who do triathlon, and there's biking in it. There's a chance to race my bike. So boom, I signed up for a sprint triathlon in Connecticut and became a triathlete.
He said, I'm going to go ride my bike, but since there's nowhere else to ride my bike and it's the only race that offers it, let me go swim and run too.
Yeah. And I figured, like swimming, running, everybody who has legs can do it. And swimming, I mean, you grow up in North America, at some point you've gone swimming, right? And I grew up, I still live there. I live right on a river, and like I swim in it all my life. But I never swam with a wetsuit before. And I remember when I got to that first sprint triathlon, almost died. I figured that's it. I'm drowning for sure.
That's the good thing about the wetsuit. It won't let you.
Yeah.
That's why I keep trying to tell people, like, are you sure? I said, I'm pretty sure science is going to, really win here. If you like turn over and just stick your face in the water and force it down, I'm pretty sure that might hurt you. But if you have a triathlon wetsuit on, then it's going to be buoyant. Now, if you have one of those surfer ones, I can't really promise you anything is going to positively happen, right? It's going to really be up to you. And so you went and did the sprint, and then what did you think about it? Like, how did it affect you in your life as you continue to grow as a triathlete? Were you that person that says, hey, I'm a triathlete now? Or did you say, oh, I just got to ride my bike? Like what happened after that?
Well, like the swim was actually, people who read my book will know it was super traumatic for me. And I know a lot of early triathletes go through that, where the swim is the one thing they're not used to doing. And for me, that was it. And it panicked me. Like I had a full blown, straight up anxiety attack in the water. Like couldn't breathe. I thought I was going to die. And like you said, the wetsuit helped me finish because I just went on my back the whole way. And when I got out of the water, as I was approaching the beach, I said, well, that's that. Like I'm done with this. Triathlon is stupid. Like there's nothing there for me.
I think we all say that.
I almost died. But then I got on my bike, and that went very well. And then I ran, and I ran cross country in college and everything. So that clicked, and I finished the race. And right away, first of all, I had forgotten how bad the swim was because the rest of the day was good. And I finished pretty high up in my age category. And I thought that was really cool. But then I took a look around and how everybody, all the triathletes kind of hung out together, and they were talking about the race. And it was never, oh, I did this, dig me kind of thing. I'm so wonderful. It was everybody wanted to know about everybody else, How did you do? How did you feel in the swim? How did you feel at mile, whatever? And I thought, this is kind of cool. I grew up playing hockey, all kinds of sports, and never had that type of community in any other sport. And in the race I was in, there were professionals and me in the same race, sort of on the course at the same time.
Yeah.
And where do you see that? When was the last time you got to throw a football around Tom Brady?
Even though the swim is going to be crazy for a lot of people, but that's a great thing about triathlon, as you say, it found you. It's the family that found you, right? Like you said, the people, everybody was like, tell me about you. Tell me about what you do, what you did, right? And then you share. It's not about like, this is what I did. Like, it's not a boasting thing. It's like what any family does, right? It absorbs you. It's like, it like brings you in. It's like, hey, like having a great neighbor that you're friends with for the rest of your life. They just welcome you in. And that's what triathlon did for me. I know it. And I think sometimes we forget that. We forget that triathlon is not only not unless you're doing a relay, an individual sport, but it's a family, right? And it's made up of like real people, just like me and you. And we want to share that with each other. So it's this piece that we overlook so much, and we lose that. And when we're looking for triathlon, I think that's where in this the last year or so, when people that were looking for it, or they thought they were looking for it, when it didn't exist, they felt like they lost something.
Right. That's right. That's how I felt too.
Really.
And that's the thing with triathlon. It's not only, you said it's an individual sport. It's like the ultimate individual sport, because other than maybe boxing or tennis, where it's definitely one-on-one, in triathlon, you're competing. And unlike sports that are similar to it, like running, all the three sports that make up triathlon, in the biggest part of triathlon, the bike, you can't use anybody else, right? Like there's no drafting. You can, in fact, I mean, I've been penalized for it without even knowing I was doing it.
You can try it, but it ain't gonna work.
Exactly. So you are ultimately on your own completely in the race. But the second you cross the finish line, you're in a total community with everybody else. And you just feel like, if you don't live at home and you go home for things, you get that same kind of feeling every time I go to a race. And this last year, I mean, in some ways it was kind of good, because, it took a little bit of pressure off. I don't have to race, but I can train and really sort of build up and find out where I am as an athlete that way. But I like comparing myself to other people, and I love going places to race and seeing all those other people. And just the day before the race is one of my favorite things. Like, you go to the village, the Ironman village, and you buy a whole bunch of crap you don't need, spend way more money than you should. Like, who needs a barbecue cover with Ironman on it? But I got one, right?
Cookie cutter. We got a cookie cutter for my wife.
There you go. But it's cool. And you'll say this, what we're saying right now, do I really need this, to some guy from New Zealand that you've never met, and you're never going to see him again, and you laugh about it. Yeah, I'm going to get one too. That's what I love about it. It's just that there has been a bit of a hole. And I think you're seeing a lot of people, like a few months ago when the first couple races were started to happen. And even I sat back and said, geez, I don't know if they should do that. I don't know if we're ready. But people were so desperate that, it's like, I just want to do the thing that I do. Like I said, you said, tell me about yourself. First thing I say is triathlete, but that's been taken away. So now I got to fall back on, I guess I'm a teacher.
But that's the crazy, and I had to remind, even, when I was speaking to coaches, I'm mentoring a coach, right? I said, you're looking at people like they're athletes all the time. They're not, right? And because especially within the triathlon community, they mothers, they fathers, sisters, brothers, parents, grandparents, great grandparents, right? We have so many other identities before we were a triathlete, but some reason we've let this one take over, right? But triathlon, we don't make triathlon. Like, triathlon really molds us. I think that's what it is. Like, we put on the races, but the experiences mold us individually and collectively. And that's how we become stronger, more resilient people. And I think that when we lost all the races, I know it's like almost a mute point. Like, we talk about it a lot, but people are still trying to figure that out. Like you said, when we said the few races came up, or that's why like most of the Ironman races sold out because people were like, oh my God, it's like free, even though it's still like $1,000, right? And how can we be ourselves if we define ourselves by something that is like impermanent?
Yeah, it's tough. In fact, it's a bit of a razor's edge. Because I don't know if you must have been. You're a triathlete. You've been injured before.
We all have, yes.
We all have. And sometimes, like 4 or 5 years ago, I had my first major, well, not major injury. Like I didn't lose a leg or anything, but an injury that took me away where I could not run. I could bike and I could swim, but I couldn't run. Therefore, I couldn't train properly for races that I had coming up. For like months I was injured. And because I had defined myself so much through being a triathlete and before that being a runner, and every day of my life I ran before that, like every single day, that's the first thing I did in the morning before I ate would be, I went for a run anywhere from 5K to 45K. And that was gone. And I tried for the first couple of weeks every day. I laced them up, got outside. Miraculously, this is going to fix it. And I would try, and I couldn't get more than 5 steps. And I started to get depressed, like really bad, because everything about me, I had thrown in the triathlete / runner / athlete basket. And that was gone for a while. So now I had to find myself somehow else. I threw myself into coaching basketball and other things. But though we all define ourselves as triathletes, you kind of got to be a little bit careful about that, because triathlon is also the best sport in the world, but it's one of the sports with the highest divorce rate, highest separation rate.
Yeah.
And so it's rough on the rest of your family. If you I got a kid and I have a girlfriend, and they come with me to most races, certainly the ones when I go to France or Africa or Australia to do a race, they like to come, but they can't come to all of them. And if they're not supportive, you're putting in 30 hours a week as an amateur, and you're not making any money out of it. Like, no one's handing me a check at the end of a race if you win your age group.
Receipt.
Exactly. So that's a lot of I have friends who are not triathletes, but my best friend, he likes to play hockey still. He's 50 years old, and he plays Thursday night hockey with the boys and has a beer and stuff like that. He doesn't train for that. He just goes to play hockey once a week, right? Like you and I, you spend 20 plus hours every single week. You went up for a 16 mile run, you said, or something.
No, 10 mile. So
16K just before coming on a Sunday.
Normal day.
Yeah, exactly. How many people who play softball with the boys trained today?
Yeah, not many. They probably trained on that, be able to the alcohol consumption and snacks and sleep. So basically, we lost something. We lost what we thought we had. What did we lose though? So as we look at how triathlon found us, what do you think triathlon, when triathlon found you, says, hey, Brock, this is the community I want you to be in. Like at the deepest level, emotionally, what do you think it gave you? Like as a man, as a person, and how has that affected your life?
The way I see it, triathlon in particular, and endurance sports, I guess, as a grand thing, because triathlon, even a sprint triathlon, is an endurance sport. It just goes to show you how sort of unique triathlon is. We call a sport that lasts an hour and a half a sprint. But for me, what I think, and I'm a teacher, so I can use this analogy. I think that triathlon itself, to me, was a teacher. It was a motivator. It was a counselor. It was a therapist. It was a parent. It was a family. It was all of those things. As I said when we started out, I wasn't looking for it. But once I found it, I figured out that there had been something missing before, emotionally, mentally in my life, that I didn't know. I grew up a tough dude, I can do whatever. I can, if someone said, do you need directions to the gas station? No, I'm good. I'll find it. I was one of these guys. I can do everything. So I didn't think anything was missing. But then I got triathlon and it felt great. And then it got taken away. And it's like when I was injured or this past year, and it's like, damn, where's that thing? Where's my motivator? Where's my teacher? Where's my counselor? Where's my pastor? All these things were triathlon, and I got to do that stuff myself now. And I can do it, but it's a lot easier when you have that community around you that's just there all the time. It's a good thing we have internet.
Social media has been a true blessing, for sure, man. I think that's how we connected.
Yeah.
That's how we know, I've known about you for a while. And that's like what the biggest thing that you said in there that really stood out was like, I don't think I ever really needed triathlon, but once you got it, you realize what was missing.
Yeah.
Like, that's huge. Like, that's a big statement. It's like, I think triathlon has changed. It has changed me. It literally has changed me. It's made me a better father, a better husband, a better person, a better Marine, a better athlete, better son, right? It's because for me, I've met so many people that are so willing to give all of their selves, like their selflessness. Like, I come from, Kansas City, Missouri, the ghetto, and people are just not trying to give, or not just, the everyday people are not just trying to give you things or be there for you. Like, how can I help you? Hey, bro, you need something? You missing something? You want me to bring it over? And then this is anybody, everybody, triathletes know that if you're in a triathlon community and you are missing something, and put it on Facebook, put it in your group, throw out a mass text message, you will have it by the end of the day.
Oh yeah.
Right? People are so selfless. And after it hit me hard, because after I came back from Afghanistan, I really found the appreciation for life that didn't exist for me. And being in the Marine Corps, you deal with a lot of negative energy, right? We were fighting wars, fighting battles. And to me, that's just a lot of negativity. And when triathlon came, it was like, it was my outlet. It was my unicorn. And we talk about marriages. Like, my marriage was rough, especially training for my first full distance. I almost got divorced, bro. But it was because I was, when you get something and you just, like, when you first see it, you forget about you. Like, a kid has 1,000 toys, but when they get that one, they don't play with nothing else.
Yeah.
Right. That's what triathlon was for me. So I had my family over here, and my little one hadn't been born, my daughters and my wife, and they were almost those things that I've always had. And then I got triathlon, and it was like, I just want this right now. It was giving me the fix. I was training with my friends, and we were talking about bikes, and we were going to get liquor. We were having pizzas, and we were meeting at the beach, or we were going open water swimming, or we were going over events over people's houses. And it was almost like, if you guys want to go, y'all can come. And that was my family. And I lost myself. And I think if you're out there searching for triathlon, then you really got to think of, like, what are you trying to replace or add to your life?
Like I said before, it is a bit of a double-edged sword. On the one hand, I think if you're searching that hard for anything, be it a sport, a religion, anything, a lover, if you're alone and you try so hard, you're on all kinds of dating websites and you're doing everything to find something, you never find it. It is a unicorn, right? It doesn't exist. But if you just sort of sit back and just control who you are, do your own thing, and let things come to you, it's going to happen. Something's going to come. And for me, triathlon did come along. And like you said before, I was at a race in France 2 years ago, Alpe d'Huez. So it's a really tough race. And the night before the race, it's going to be in the lake. The swim is in a lake that is like 52 degrees. So
cold as hell.
You needed your damn wetsuit, right?
I was say cold as hell.
And
Wetsuit might not help.
So I'm getting all my gear together the night before, like you do. And I zipped my triathlon, wetsuit on, and it was great. Okay, everything's perfect. This feels the way it should. And I unzipped it and I tore the zipper off. This is like 8 o'clock at night, the night before the race. Okay, that's wonderful. Now I don't have a wetsuit. I'm going to freeze to death. So like you just said, I said, okay, well, I just went on the internet in France I'm about to do this race tomorrow, Alpe d'Huez. Anybody here have an extra wetsuit? 3 people responded to me within like 25 minutes. They all didn't have one. Nobody had one, but they all responded and said, well, they had ideas for me. Just get yourself a roll of duct tape, do this, do that. And it's okay. Well, by the time, so I went out and I went searching for one. By the time I got back, my girlfriend had fixed it anyway, but thankfully she was there. But like you said, the community is there. And if there's anything that I could tell anybody, in the triathlon world, or in especially in triathlon, but also in the rest of your life, for me, when I was getting into it, like I said, I didn't know I needed something, and triathlon sort of showed up, and that turned out to be what I needed. But even within the sport, what we have, especially guys, we have a hard time sort of admitting that we might need some sort of help. And if you're in triathlon, you just got to ask for it. You just got to put the macho crap aside and say, look, I need help with this. I need help with that. I can't seem to get my butt up in the water and my head down properly. Anybody help me with that? You're going to have 6 people at the pool come over. I'll show you. Okay, try this technique, try this drill, try that. All kinds of things. For me personally, it happened. I got injured. Like I said, it was the same injury I was talking about before. And I went to the race I was training for in Syracuse, New York, and I failed. I did the swim fine. I did the bike fine, and then the run. I couldn't run. I ran 10 feet and I had to quit. And my girlfriend had been telling me for weeks, you got to go see, my best friend is a massage therapist. Go see your friend. Let him try it. You've tried everything else. And I thought that was kind of hokey pokey crap, basically. And finally, I went to him and I said, yeah, I need help. Can you help me? Give me a massage. I was out running the next day. So all I needed to do was just give in and seek the help, and it was there. And that could be physical help. It could be emotional help. It could be anything. But you got to look for it.
The community of triathlon, we all like that people are willing to be there for us and that we're willing to share our stories with each other. And that comes to that pride, that ego-driven piece. Like, we want to be a piece of it, but for some reason we don't want to give a piece of ourselves. Mm-hmm. Right? We want to take instead of give instead of giving back. And giving back something doesn't mean you have to give a tangible item to somebody. It's like giving them trust, to like saying, like, I trust you with my emotions. I trust you enough to say, like, I need your help. And what will you tell those people that are just want to be fed, but not are willing to give as much as they're willing to take? Like, how would you talk to them?
Well, those people, because I was one of those people, like when I started, like, I grew up playing hockey. I played a high level of hockey, and that is the most macho, I'm going to do it myself. I don't need anybody's help. And if you ask for help, it means you're weak type of person. That was me. And I remember even at my first couple of triathlons, when you're crowded and you're going towards the start line for the swim, people are high-fiving and they're talking to each other and slapping each other on the butt. I'm thinking, what is this garbage? Why don't you hate each other? You're competitors. Like, get your hate on, dude. Don't you? That's the guy you're racing against. And so that was the mindset I had for the race. And then my next race, I realized, I kind of like this. And I looked around and I saw a couple of people there who you could see they were so nervous. They had the feeling that I had before the swim in my first race. So I kind of sidled up towards them. And this is me, a guy who I'm not a high five guy. And I was like, dude, high five. Let's go. You got this. Don't worry about it. I can see, you're a little bit nervous. Don't worry about this. Everybody feels that way. You're going to get through it. I guarantee you're not going to die in that water. You got a wetsuit on. Just go on your back. And that was the other thing. Go on your back. And you're there. I'm sure the guy was thinking the same thing I was thinking. I'm on my back in a race. What kind of loser does that? Everybody does that. Don't worry about it. You're going to go on your back and you're going to see 10 other people floating around on their back just trying to get it done. Get it done. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Just get it done, man. I think that's great advice. That's great advice, man. I think if you give them words of wisdom like that, then everybody got to get the book, right? They have to get out there and get the book and read it. You're going to find out a little bit more about him and a little bit more about his story. And I know we talk about writing some more. That's just the tip of the iceberg. And as you're still writing your journey right now, and
absolutely,
we all are. And so go out there. Where, if they were looking for your book, where can they find it?
The best place to find it is on Amazon, but in the States, you can get it pretty much anywhere books are sold, particularly Barnes & Noble. And if you're listening to this in Canada, Chapters, and the rest of the world, basically Amazon is the best place. And if you're anti-Amazon, which a lot of people are, pretty much any bookstore will sell it.
You could be anti-Amazon, but to get the book, it don't matter if you're anti-anything. Be like, it ain't. You're not supporting Amazon. You're supporting Brock, man, and his story, and the things about listening to people's stories. Like, it's not about what they have gone through. It's about what you can learn from what they've gone through. That's the key. That's what reading is all about. It's about, instead of living just one life, it's living 1,000 through words. That's the key to growth and success, man. Brock, I want to thank you for coming on and talking to us. And this was a really good conversation. And I really, I'm gonna wrap it up, but like at the same time, I'm glad you said that men have an issue with being vulnerable. Like, men, we have an issue with ego and like we do. Like, and that has to stop. Strength comes from knowing who you are. That means your feelings. That means the things that you are not good at, your limitations and your strengths. A well-rounded person, a well-rounded man can actually open up and let things go without worrying about the fear of being judged or what other people may think. Right.
Absolutely.
That openness is growth, and that growth is happiness. And then that's how we should live our lives, man.
Absolutely.
All right, brother. Well, we're going to get out of here. I appreciate you guys for listening. Remember, always, you are enough. You just got to believe it. Thank you for watching. Every 2 weeks, get a new episode. And if you ever need something, just shoot me an email on one of my social media platforms. Have a great day. See you later, guys. Bye.
Thank you for listening. Find Coach Morgan on social media and at www.morganlattimore.com. Check back every 2 weeks for new and insightful episodes. Until next time, remember, you are enough. You just have to believe it.